thought that I needed to create something better, a version of myself that would please you. If I appeared perfect, you would accept me. If I could only hide the truth, but through the facade you saw the real me.
No, son, believe me, he's still planning to take your AR-15. I know what he said, but last time when he said that other thing, it didn't work. He didn't get elected, so that's why he tried saying something different this time. His mind hasn't changed. Hey there, folks. How you doing today? Hope all is going well with you. I have been real busy. I'm sure you probably have too. We are trying to get the garden going right now, so I had to get that done before I could sit down to make this, but now I'm finished with what I was doing. Mama's outside playing with the tractor. You might hear that in the background. So just bear with the sounds of life happening. So recently we released a 9mm for beginners video. I'll put a link to that down below in the description. Additionally, we recently reviewed Academy's store brand Monarch. It's actually PPU from Serbia brass case 9mm ammunition. I'll put a link to that down below also. We had not only the "what does that even mean" question from inquiring minds, but it also led to the proverbial argument between the steel-cased ammo is junk crowd and the "if it won't shoot steel, it doesn't deserve brass" brigade. So we are going to talk about the differences, explore some of the common trains of thought on the subject, and explore some of the pros and cons of each. But before we get started, let's take a look at what we're talking about exactly. Alright, so here we have a steel-cased round, like what we were just referring to. Alongside that is a conventional brass-cased round. And next to that, for contrast, is a nickel-plated round. Okay, so brass-cased ammunition, like this guy here. This is actually a brass-cased and a brass-jacketed bullet. Or probably more, it's probably actually gilding metal, but we won't get into that. We'll just say it's brass. And I'll point out that brass-cased ammunition is the most commonly found type of ammunition in the United States. That might not be the case everywhere, but typically speaking, most varieties of most ammunition sold here are brass-cased. So what are some of the pros of brass-cased ammunition? Well, they are mostly reloadable. Some of them aren't. Some of them have crimped primer pockets, which make them very difficult to reload. And some of them have what is called a Berdan primer, which really makes it nearly impossible to reload them efficiently. But by far and large, most brass-cased ammunition sold in the United States is boxer primed and reloadable. As I mentioned before, they are very common on the US market. You can find them just about anywhere that ammunition is sold. The brass cases tend to be softer than the steel cases, and theoretically that saves wear and tear on the firearm. What are some of the cons? Well, they tend to cost more than steel-cased ammunition. Although this day and age, the difference isn't as much as it used to be. And even though the brass cases cannot rust, they can corrode, they'll turn green, they'll get nasty stuff growing on them, just like a coin would if they're left out in the elements. So now let's cover some of the steel-cased ammunition. What exactly is steel-cased ammunition? Where does it come from? Why do we have it? Well, I believe it originated back in the comm block areas of Europe, specifically like the Soviet countries. Probably about 100 years ago, I suppose, but definitely in the earlier part of the 20th century. Most of the World War I and World War II Soviet weaponry, your Mosins, your Dragunovs, your AK-47s, your Makarov pistols, most of those weapons were designed to function with steel-cased ammunition. I'm not sure why the Soviets decided to use steel cases for their ammunition. Perhaps they had a shortage of brass. Back in the 1940s, there was a shortage of copper in this country because of the war effort. So it might have been something like that. But today there are many other calibers that are readily available loaded in steel cases. I have several cases of .308, .223, and 9mm Luger ammunition that's steel-cased, Russian-made ammunition that functions very well in all of the weapons that I've shot it in. What are some of the pros of the steel-cased ammunition? Well, steel-cased ammunition should be cheaper than brass-cased ammunition. Steel-cased ammunition also used to be readily available. But most importantly, steel-cased ammunition has proven itself to be extremely reliable in battlefields type situations in some of the most extreme conditions on Earth. Everything from frozen tundra of the Soviet Union down to the sands of the Middle East. This ammunition has proved itself to be a real game changer. So what are some of the cons of the steel-cased ammunition? Well, as I mentioned earlier, and if you've seen enough of my videos, you know I have a tendency to be a little redundant. It's not as readily available as it used to be. It's not as cheap as it used to be. Anybody who's had their ear to the ground listening for the buffalo lately can tell you that the supply of Russian-made steel-cased ammunition in this country is going to dry up soon. Now you can still get it, but it's more expensive than I've ever seen it in the past. So I went to my local big box store the other day, and I was able to get 3 different types of steel-cased 9mm Luger ammunition. All of it is 115 grain full metal jacket type ammunition. And we will be running each of those ammunition through the following pistols. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again because there might be some folks watching this video that haven't seen some of my older content. This is a self-funded channel. I am a hobby-level YouTuber. I do not have sponsors providing me with the ammunition to review for this channel. It's coming out of my pocket, and because of that, we will be limiting the ammunition fired through these pistols today to 10 rounds of each variety through each pistol. So the ammunition that we will be firing through these pistols today, starting with Tula ammunition 9mm Luger 115 grain full metal jacket, steel case, non-corrosive, Bird primed, made in Russia. Next, we will be testing the Winchester USA forged 9mm Luger 115 grain full metal jacket, brass jacketed lead core bullet with a steel shell case. Folks, these are made in the USA. And finally, we will be testing some of Academy's Monarch brand steel cased 9mm Luger 115 grain full metal jacket. And these folks are made in Russia as well. Now I'll show you a close-up of each of those rounds, and you can see very slight differences between the Tula ammunition and the Monarch brand. I have been told that the Monarch brand is Bernal. I do not know. Maybe somebody out there does know and could tell me, but regardless, they appear to be of different manufacture. The head stamps are a little bit different. And then, as you can see, the case on the Winchester round is significantly different. It has a different type of coating on it. It doesn't really appear to be lacquer coated like the other two. So by now, you're probably tired of hearing me talk about all this. So let's get over to the range and see how they do.
Hey Dad, I think you forgot the biggest con about using steel case ammo.
Oh yeah, son? What's that?
It can damage your gun.
Man, who told you that? The same guy that said Beto wasn't going to try to take your AR-15? In fact, I am so sure that the steel-cased ammunition is safe for your firearm that I am going to fire it through all of these weapons here. shooting. Like that, right? You see how my thumbs are lined up? Malfunction. Alright, just so you can see what happened there, we had one of the Monarch rounds, the Academy brand. I'll try to show you there, we've got a very light primer strike on that round. I'm going to go ahead and feed it again and see if it works the second time. This is try 2 with the round that got the light primer strike. Go ahead and put that last mag in and shoot it. The safety is your booger hook, son. Where'd those rounds go?
On the plate.
Okay, son, what did we shoot? Maybe 300 rounds of steel-cased ammo today?
At least that much, Dad.
And how many problems did we have with it today?
Just one out of the 365 that had the light primer strike.
Yeah, I've seen light primer strikes before. It could have just been a hard primer, or it could have been any number of things. That round did go off on the second shot, but I'm going to tell you a little story. Over there at the house, I have an old Mini 14 that for the first 20 or so years that I owned it, I didn't feed it anything but steel-cased ammunition. And out of all those years and thousands of rounds through that gun, I only one time ever had a bad round. I say that to say this, son. There's a lot of folks out there that think that steel-cased ammunition is dangerous or bad for a firearm. And while certainly anything can happen, in many years of shooting and thousands of rounds of steel-cased ammo downrange, I've never had a problem with it. Now, with that being said, just like any range level ammunition, any kind of full metal jacket, bulk packed, value packed, range packed ammo, I don't recommend that you carry anything like that for defensive purposes for a number of reasons. But when it comes to range day, if you're not picking up your brass and reloading it, steel-cased ammo is fine in my book. I'd say shoot whatever you can get the best deal on. If you find something that your particular gun really doesn't like, don't shoot that through it. But otherwise, I wouldn't let the case material dictate what I bought. With the exception of CCI Blazer with the aluminum case, that stuff is absolute garbage. Folks, I hope you enjoy what we did out here today. Thanks for watching. Take care. God bless.
I was the prodigal, wasting